Thank you for logging on. Yours truly, Diamond K, right here. Ustreamradio.com. Of course, it's the Diamond K Show going down. Also on our internet partners, blogtalkradio.com. Also, shouts out to 410degrees.com, as well as dmvjams.com. And as I said, ustreamradio.com each and every night, 10 p.m. at ustreamradio.com. Today, the music industry lost another great person as it relates to the music business, the business of music. Chuck Brown, the godfather of go-go, died today, Wednesday, May the 16th. Brown's signature was the gravelly voice and his ability to lean effortlessly into a groove. The musician was known as a pioneer of the style of music born in D.C. And called go-go. Go-go music, which Chuck Brown is known as the godfather of, is a style of percussion, heavy funk, live instruments pioneered in D.C. And as I said, Chuck Brown, a big pioneer of this style of music, passed away on Wednesday. His death was reported in several media outlets, and if I can quote his manager and other family members who confirmed his death, Brown was 75 years old and had been in the hospital for pneumonia. And the Washington Post said that Brown, his voice was capitalized on the funk's percussive pulse, and this created go-go. So many people credit him with actually creating go-go. But the genre of music never quite made it big outside of Washington, D.C., in that area, different parts of Virginia, but and actually some parts of southern Maryland as well. But in Washington, D.C., go-go music was a giant, played at every family gathering, every go-go club, and you could hear the clank of the snares, the smooth, mesmerizing groove could be heard blazing from cars across the city. Washington, D.C. being the nation's capital, Brown was the king, and actually he started doing music in the 70s and continued on into the 80s, the 90s, and currently. The NPR noted that Mr. Brown started out as a jazz guitarist and later created go-go by incorporating elements of funk, jazz, R&B, hip-hop, and dancehall. Brown performed at the Tiny Desk concert in NPR back in 2010, and we have a video of that posted where he performed at NPR radio station's office. Now, to clarify, as I was saying earlier, a quote from his manager, Chuck Brown's former manager, that is Tom Goldfogel, he told NPR that Mr. Brown died of a multi-organ failure from sepsis at a hospital here in Baltimore. He was 75 years old, had a career spanning 4 decades. His family continues to be grateful for the outpouring of love and support. And it's ironic that Mr. Brown died here in Baltimore, but he was definitely known in all over. And the weird thing about go-go music in Baltimore is that go-go, it never really broke fully here in Baltimore. I would say it never really broke in Baltimore. Even with the cities being as close as they are, they're like night and day. I had the opportunity to meet Chuck Brown at a distributor who distributed a lot of my early club records and was the label home of Chuck Brown, Liaison Records in Laurel, and later they moved their offices to Columbia. But when they were still in the Laurel office, I was dropping off some club records, and I ran into Mr. Chuck Brown in the lobby of the distribution company. And he looked exactly like his pictures. He had a toothpick in his mouth. He had a cowboy hat on, cowboy boots, like snakeskin boots. Real cool type. Reminded me of my grandfather, somebody that you would see in the in the Carolinas or somewhere like that. Just like a very laid back type of person, and we talked for a few minutes, and I told him that I was a fan of his music, and it was a pleasure to meet him. And it wasn't a long conversation, but it was definitely memorable, and definitely R.I.P. to Mr. Chuck Brown, legendary Chuck Brown. A lot of hit records, and as his manager said, a career that spanned 4 decades, and actually got its start in the 70s. But definitely the biggest name in go-go. Chuck Brown, for those just tuning in, passed away today after a battle with pneumonia. He had to cancel several concert dates because of his ailments. And, he's best known in the mainstream for his number 1 hit, Busting Loose, and definitely had a very good run as a live musician, and it's definitely sad to hear of this. Now, for those of you that don't live in the DMV, DC, Maryland, and Virginia area, you still will be very aware of Chuck Brown and some of his contributions. If you go to Chuck Brown's Facebook page, Chuck Brown DC on Facebook, the outpouring of support and love that people are just showing is very touching. Just a lot of rest in peace and things of that. A lot of people. I'm going to read. Michael Hill of DC obviously said, "You made us proud to yell that we were from DC everywhere we went. If you ever went to a boring party out of town, all you needed was some Chuck. Pop in the tape, the CD, and you became the man. And you always had a home without your tape or CD." So a lot of fans of go-go music, I suppose, basically got this taste from these tapes and CDs that were passed around. But definitely, R.I.P. Chuck Brown. Yours truly, Diamond K, here representing UStreamRadio.com. Thank you for listening. Thank you for tuning in. info@thediamondkshow.com to send us music. And we will be back tomorrow night. Yours truly, Diamond K. And once again, thank you, blogtalkradio.com. Also, shouts out to 410degrees.com, dmvjams.com. Yours truly, Diamond K, signing out. Thank you for listening.